Hello and welcome to Film Whisperers, where two movie nerds talk all things film with a contemporary lens. My name is Saj.
And I'm Alice.
Alice, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm loving the colour scheme.
Thank you. I was trying to be bright and Barbie pink.
Yeah.
And I love your outfits too, especially the glasses.
Thank you very much. Well, it's in line with what we're going to talk about today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone, we're recording this during Barbieheimer week. Have I said that right?
Barbie? I think so. And it's today as well.
It's today. Yeah, exactly. And have you seen Barbie?
Yes, I saw the previews on Wednesday.
Yep,
and
same.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Where did you see it?
I saw it at Kino, the Palace Cinemas. What about you?
Perfect. I saw it at the Sun Theatre in Yarraville.
Oh, beautiful. What were your thoughts?
I mean, I walked away loving it. I went in sort of blind. I didn't really want to read anything. And yeah, I was very happy.
It exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
I went in, I had read some of the reviews and the reviews were really amazing. And I guess I really wanted this film to succeed because I'm going to be honest, in terms of the marketing campaign, it has got to be the greatest marketing campaign I've ever seen for a film, ever. And just to see this resurgence of pink and just to see the brand Barbie everywhere is not something I've ever witnessed before. So I really loved how it lured you into cinemas with this pink fluffy brand, and it gave you this amazing commentary of the patriarchy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the marketing is absolutely genius as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I bought some Barbie merch already.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Some outfits to wear to the cinema.
Ah, right. Okay.
And I saw a lot of other people doing that too.
Yeah.
But you just can't escape the pink and Barbie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good segue to let everyone know what we're going to talk about today. And I think we, especially with this film Barbie, there's a lot of pink in it. Pink has made a resurgence, and I thought, we thought it would be great to talk about femininity in film because, Barbie is, I would say, it's a pivotal moment in cinematic history where a film this big with a female lead and, this much femininity has gotten this much attention.
Yeah, it's a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And again, I cannot think of another film I've been watching film for a long time, and to have this a female lead, how can I say this? A female lead with this much femininity to be considered a blockbuster has never happened before.
That's not an action Marvel.
That's not an action movie.
Something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's an original screenplay,
Right, it is.
which I haven't seen in a while. It's always a remake or a copy or, a Marvel again and again and again.
Yes.
So it was really refreshing.
When we're talking about femininity, we're both not academics in this. We both just have a passion for this. And, I just want to also acknowledge the fact that my pronouns are he, him, so I identify as a male. And what about you?
I'm she, her.
Yeah. So, so just, I guess just a caution, we're just looking at this from a very passionate lens and looking at our experience of watching film and other media that we've consumed over, our times watching film.
It's very much from our perspective.
Correct.
I'm not an expert in feminism, but it's how I view it.
I guess given you do share 50% of the stage, I am going to ask you about the female experience because that's not something that I would know much about, right? So I guess, what does femininity mean to you?
It's interesting. I actually looked it up, and I'll just quickly have a quick look at my notes because I couldn't quite point out. I was thinking feminine and girly and pink and bows and unicorns and all that, and I thought, gee, that sounds a bit sexist. A set of attributes or behaviours and roles that are generally associated with women. So that's what I found.
Generally
associated with women. So the things I just described, when you think about that doesn't really have a gender, but it's just maybe something within the past, my lifetime, which society has decided is feminine. Would you agree? Do you know what I'm...
Yeah, I would. And would you say that, the representation of pink, for example, the pink outfits and it's it is part of that.
It is part of it, but then when I think about that, read that definition, I think, well, that can be anything, really. It's like perhaps it's feminine in this society, but maybe not in another society, and it depends on the individual. So maybe the individual grows up in an area where it's very feminine to have trucks and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just nuance.
Subjective.
It's subjective. But I guess, yes, generally we'd say Barbie is the perfect example in the last, well, she's been around since 1959. I think she's a perfect example of what our society, Western society, views femininity as.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yeah, look, definitely. And, just on that, did you play with Barbies as a kid?
Yeah, I really did. And my mum, who's a feminist, was against buying me them.
Yeah.
But I've been playing with them since like 4 or 5. She gave in, and then everyone was asking to buy Barbies for me and my sister. But yeah, Barbie is like my favorite childhood toy. Like I loved her. I probably played with her a bit longer than other kids, maybe till 12. What about yourself?
So I grew up with a brother, and no, actually, I guess I did not. And it's. I feel like I just heard a laugh in the background there, and I think this is what it does, and this is why I wanted to explore. Why is this funny to ask a man that question?
Yeah.
Because and I feel like this is the problem with femininity, right? It's almost like, well, it can't be for men because anyway. No, I didn't play with Barbies, and and the only reason was I had an older brother, and there was no. I guess there was no pathway for a Barbie to come into the house because it was never a thing. Having said that, my partner, who also identifies as a male, had a sister, and he played with Barbies. And we had this conversation on the film. There was no stigma against it. He just played with Barbies because it was a toy.
Yeah.
And so I think if I was given the opportunity, I definitely would have, because I feel as if forget about the detriment of the body image issues. Barbie, from what I can see, it did give people the option to imagine, and you played with Barbies because you gave yourself a setting, and you envisioned the character of the Barbie that you were holding was whatever Barbie, and you formed this whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting with Barbie as well, because Barbie did come from, it was like one of their first toys that was marketed to girls that wasn't a baby doll Barbie, and they explore that in the film as well, where the doll isn't a baby that's teaching little girls how to look after babies, babies how to look after babies, but it's looking at the future and different careers that they could have. It's not just homemaker.
Yeah.
So I like that it explores femininity in different career paths. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Given that we're talking about femininity and film, I guess it's important that we also touch on feminism and film.
Yes.
How would you define, in terms of film, what feminism and film is?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I would say there's so many layers to that, but I mean, feminism just means it's just equal rights for men and women. So if we have a film that shows or explores that theme of equal rights, that's a feminist film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's saying, no, they shouldn't have it, then I would say it's not.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because female representation in film, can go from Barbie to all the way back Ripley, Sigourney Weaver in Alien, or Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road. There's this whole range. But I guess in terms of femininity and film and feminist films with femininity, can you think of other films to this nature that that still sort of had a feminist and feminine edge to it?
A feminist and no, not off the top of my head. What about you?
I can think of one, and it's my favorite film of all time. It's Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like Legally Blonde was a Barbie before Barbie.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it came out in 2001. It certainly was not a blockbuster, even though it did exceptionally well in the box office. It definitely had this angle of femininity where, this girl, she wears a lot of pink, but no one takes her seriously because she's wearing a lot of pink. And Reese Witherspoon even changed the way she spoke a bit because she wanted to sound a bit more California cool girl, like one of the sorority girls. And there was definitely a lot of emphasis on the outfits that she wore in it, but the whole thing where she was never taken seriously. And she ends up going to law school, and I guess arguably, spoiler alert, but she wins the case. She gets chosen to be part of. But interestingly, in that film, there's a moment there where she switches the way she dresses, and she stops wearing pink and she starts wearing darker color clothes. But then at the end, when it's her moment to shine, she enters the courtroom wearing this really pink, glittery dress, and she ends up winning the case. And I think that film did a really good job of, showcasing. You might have a stigma against femininity, but it's still girl power at the end of the day.
I like that she found that she can still be herself, and that's her. Herself has pink, and maybe that seems a bit more feminine and stuff. I do makeup, as that's one of my side jobs, and I've always bristled at that idea that you can't wear makeup, especially growing up. My parents, my mum's kind of attitude, and her aunts, her sisters, and everything, that you can't be taken seriously if you're girly. You can't wear makeup in the office and stuff like that. What I like about the Barbie film is that it's pushing that, like, you can do those things. You can wear makeup. It's up to you. It doesn't affect who you are because you show yourself up that way, because you want to wear makeup. That's just how you express yourself.
Yeah. So why do you think there's this big deal with femininity and film and the stigma? Like, why do you think this is a problem?
That's a big question. I think that it's sexism in a way. I think that, what this film explores, there's a big speech, as you know, that kind of explores that idea. And I think that's actually one of the things which I noticed people who didn't like the film really hung on to, was just these simple things of women being told opposite things constantly about how they should be, just what they should wear, how they want to be taken seriously. And it kind of, without giving it away too much, it's always contradicting itself. So I think, and that's when you see in feminism, like a femininity in film, is that no matter what you do, people are going to criticize it, especially women. So if she was pretty, they have criticized this film for having Margot Robbie in there. Maybe they should have put someone that's more curvier, and the film even acknowledges that at some points. So I think it's just this standard they have of women which is unobtainable, and society loves to just find ways to criticize anything feminine in film.
So Alice, if you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly just share the story with you. So I'm in a chat group with 4 other people, 3 girls. There's myself and another guy, and this guy, I guess you could call him like an alpha straight male. And again, this is just one person's reaction. I'm not saying that all straight men would react this way, but this group was waiting till I saw the film to then book tickets for us to watch it. And so, yes, I'm watching it again. And there was a bit of silence from this other straight guy in the chat. So I said to him, look, are you going to come with us to watch the Barbie movie? To which he said, it's not my thing. And he said it, I could feel the aggressive nature of his comment. So I responded with, I believe all straight men should watch this film. And I think that struck a nerve in him. And his reaction was, well, I don't ask you to watch Rambo or Creed, so maybe you should just let me be and just not ask me to watch Barbie. And it took me a moment there, because firstly I was there going, yeah, you're right, you don't ask me to watch Rambo and Creed. But then after I thought about it, it took me a minute to go, but hang on, there's no stigma in watching an alpha male movie, right? But there is a stigma watching a film that is considered feminine.
Yeah.
And there's TikTok videos now of two men going to the cinema dressed in pink and calling each other out on, oh, you're watching the Barbie movie, So why? I don't understand it.
I think there's many layers to that, but I think there's one of the things you've kind of touched on is there's the cool girl that goes to see all those movies because they're like the guys, so there's no stigma when they watch it. If they don't watch those movies, if a woman doesn't want to watch those hyper masculine films, then she's boring or lame. She's she's not cool. But the other way around, if a guy goes to see it, a feminine film like Barbie, then he's not cool.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I find it interesting. It's kind of, I don't know psychology, but I wonder if this comes from as we were kids and the girls played with the Barbies and the boys were made fun of if they wanted to play with the Barbies. You don't play with that. You play with Macho Man or trucks or what have you.
You are probably right. And I think, I think the whole cool girl thing with, wanting to watch, I definitely have seen that. And, I guess, in a very subjective way, I generally think that those films with female leads or, those feminine films, I think they're better quality because the movies, in my opinion, and I don't want to make this about men versus women, but, a lot of, you take your Christopher Nolan movies or even The Godfather, I really struggle with a lot of them because it's very dry storytelling.
Yeah.
Whereas the storytelling when it comes to women, you see the empathy, you learn about the friendship and let's take Legally Blonde for example. The woman who initially doesn't like her, they end up being best friends in the end. It just really shows there's a lot of heart, and I think those are qualities that all humans should have. Whereas you take a film like Creed or Expendables, I watch it and I just think this is not teaching me anything in terms of life lessons. So in a way, I wish that we lived in a society where people would be embracing more of this female-led storytelling because it's quite heartwarming.
Yeah. It's the other side of humanity. So we want to explore and be better humans. We need to explore everyone's story.
Exactly.
Now, I found it really interesting watching the Barbie film how Ken was portrayed. I had one Ken doll and a whole bunch of Barbie. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe one or two and 3 or 4 with Barbies. But I was interested in how Barbie's portrayed in the film and that there's a lot of talk about it being quite sexist. And if the roles were reversed, we wouldn't be too happy with how the Barbies were being treated. What did you think about how Ken was portrayed in the film?
The Kens. I didn't mind it because I feel like the roles are reversed all the time. I think it's probably since 2016, and I always say 2016 because I feel like when Trump won presidency, I think the way Hollywood reacted to it was we need more inclusion because look at what's happening to the world, and it really upped the ante on so much representation, and we really got a good dose of women in film, people of color in film that we had never seen before. Anyway, and I think that the status quo before that was the reverse, where there were, and we still see it. I bet if you go see Oppenheimer, and yes, we will be watching it.
We will.
But I bet the female in that would be very similar to the Ken in the Barbie movie. So I you know what? It's almost like it is what it is, and I think I didn't look at it as sexist because. And I didn't even think of the fact that if roles are reversed, because the roles are reversed a lot of the time. So,
it was just showing how we played with Barbie, is that we did get the Barbie house, and maybe it was marketed to girls when it really shouldn't be. It should be boys and girls. I think it's probably changing now, but I think it was just a reflection of how Barbie was played. And I think Ken got a really good story arc. Actually, I thought there was a lot of Ken in it, more than I thought there would be.
Yes.
But I found it refreshing because it is a comedy.
Yeah.
and the roles are reversed and it's exaggerated, kind of showing us how how crazy it is that Ken is being treated that way.
Yeah.
And in turn showing how crazy it is that the women are usually treated that way in film, and we're just completely fine with it.
Yeah.
Or we'll go along with it. But I did think that it is a feminist film in that it showed Ken that he could be an individual. It showed how feminism is good for men as well.
Yes.
He can just be himself. He doesn't need to be this way. And I think that's kind of the story arc for Ken.
And I think, you know, I love that you said that, because there are so many benefits to men in terms of feminism that I don't know why, but the world isn't seeing it. I don't know whether it's just poor messaging or it's the fact that feminism in itself needs a rebound. I don't know. But yeah 100%. There, you know, like, I'm wearing what I'm wearing today because of feminism, and I'm not here wearing a Arsenal top or whatever it is that men are meant to wear. Yeah. Because it's feminism taught me that, you know, there's nothing wrong with just picking those bright colors, or, you know, being effeminate, or, you know, just being yourself. Just being you. Yeah. Exactly. Showing emotion. Yeah. Yeah. Showing emotion. And that's because of feminism. Yeah. It is a valid question. I wasn't too phased by it. I went, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I think we can have one. Correct. Yeah. And I think it still gave a story arc at the end of the day. So yes, those sexism comments are valid in the fact that that's part of what the story is doing. It's showing that sexism. Yeah. Yeah. I feel as if this movie could have just pushed the rating to PG-13, we would have seen a bit more nudity from Ryan Gosling, and I think I think that would have made it the perfect feminist movie, because you have usually
just a butt shot. Exactly,
because usually the women, you know, if the situation were reversed, I bet they would have gotten the woman to take her clothes off at some point, or, you know,
G-string.
Yes, exactly.
Bra, yeah.
Correct. But we did not get that with this film. This has been such a good conversation to have. You know, if you're watching out there, please don't hate us for this film. We really loved it. You've been watching The Film Whisperers here on Ben TV. My name is Saj.
I'm Alice.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.